Hey,
Hello.
Courtney.
Well, hi, Heidi.
Oh, hi. How
Fancy
are you?
seeing you here.
I know.
Right?
It's been a while. How's everyone doing out there? We are here for another Sunday session, and I'm going to let Courtney take it away. Enjoy.
Thank you, Heidi.
Welcome.
Hello. I think we left off. I had just, crashed the car and got back into New York City, and it just collapsed in the gutter. And it was winter and it's chilly, and business isn't so hot, but it's still good. I mean, on the street, these coffee houses, they still had top billing musicians performing in coffee houses, and of course the nightclubs. And there was the Cafe Noir, the Cafe Go Go. There was all these really hip places where I'd like to go and dance. So one day, now our store was full. Our stores were full of just gorgeous young women, and we had our choice from hundreds of girls every day. And of course, Moses Morales, he was he would get several a day. I was much more conservative, and I was kind of one of these guys that just likes one girl, and then a serial monogamist. Right? Is that good?
Yeah.
Anyway. So anyway, but I did definitely have my share, and it was a smorgasbord of choices. It was just amazing. Anyway, so I went. These girls came in and they said, "Well, we'd like to invite you out, to go dancing." And I was like, "Okay, then I'm up for that." And she said, "Well, we'll meet here and we'll go off and Cafe Noir, Cafe. Where was it? That was anyway. We go to this one I hadn't been to before. And we go in, and honestly, what a place! Everywhere I looked, there was these big, tall, beautiful, statuesque, gorgeous beauties. There's this wow, where's all the men? And the girls, come on, let's dance. And we're dancing together. And then they go off and they're dancing together. And I, pretty soon I'm dancing with one exotic creature after another. And then I go, something's wrong here. What's going on? And of course, they're mostly men. They were all in drag. They were all like, oh, Max's Kansas City. That was what it was. Max's Kansas City. So Max's was like, oh my God. Anyway, it turned out this real chick, this real gorgeous beauty, who's like 6'2" or something, who's like immense, beautiful. And so we're dancing, and I said, "Oh, you're a real woman." And she said, "Yes, yes." Yeah. So I said, "Okay, then we can be friends." And anyway, we danced, and then we decided we'd meet, at least once a week to dance, which we did. And I was like, you're familiar somehow. Well, it turns out she was the original Catwoman from Batman, that was just going out and dancing. And so I got to hang with her and dance with her, meet with her, snuggle a bit with her and stuff like that, but nothing serious. Anyway, that was kind of a nice little aside. And so one day I go off to buy fabrics for my costumery, and I get all these beautiful Tibetan and Balinese and Indian, all these gorgeous fabrics. Oh my gosh, I'm going to make all this like dress the girls. And I get back to the store, and there's these two Mexican cousins looking after the store for me. And Moises Morales, he's down in Mexico looking after, he's buying leather goods and other, interesting stuff to bring back to the stores. and as I had been out, into Upper Manhattan to buy fabrics. So anyway, I get back and there's these guys says, "Oh, senor, oh, you immigration, they come looking for you to kick out your ass." I was like, what are you talking about? He said, immigration, immigration, they kick your ass out. And I was like, how would they even know about me? He said, well, they know everything. I said, no, they don't. Is this for real? Excuse me. I breathed in some wine. Oh, I mean.
Too much Chardonnay.
Anyway. I'm freaked. I buy into this completely. I don't know anything about this, immigration thing or, pardon me. So I'm like freaked. I don't want to be kicked out. I don't want to lose, my freedom or, kick back to England, and really hadn't, I think I might have said earlier on, when I first got to New York City, there was a sister company from the company I started with in England, Ryder Hunter and Partners, and I met up with a friend of mine that was actually my best friend in the firm back in England, and he had moved to New York and to a sister company, and now he was doing really well, and we connected when I came over, and he it gave me an interview with the company, and so I have the interview, and they look at my abilities and stuff like that, and they go, "Oh, okay. Well, we'd love to employ you, and but you have to, we'll start you at this salary." And I was like, it was like 10 times what I was making in England, maybe more. It was like an enormous salary, and I said, "That much?" I wasn't cool at all. Anyway, they said, but you've got to live in this, kind of district in Manhattan and drive this class of car and dress in, these custom suits. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. I love it. This is what I want, this lifestyle. I think I might have mentioned this earlier, but anyway, I said, yeah, what's not to want? And they said, well, the thing is that, the Vietnam War was still raging, and your name will go in the pot for, to be drawn to go do service. It's like a potluck. What do you call it?
Like a lottery?
A lottery. It's a lottery. And I was like, I don't think we should be there. I don't believe in this war. I don't think, this is a travesty. And so I'm going to decline this wonderful offer, of living, high on the hog with a big fat salary, and I'm just going to, because I had the stores and I was making money. And I said, no, I don't want to be involved in some war I don't believe in. I just don't think we should be there. And so I declined that and ended up just doing my own road. Of course, it was a good choice, as it turns out for me, that led on to other things. So anyway, I'm back at the store and they're saying, the immigration, they come to kick out your ass. And I was like, yeah, I bought it. And I've just spent all my money that I have, all the cash I got on all these fabrics. And I just load a suitcase because they come back any minute to take you away. I'm like, I should have been smarter. I should have understood it, but I had no idea about, this mentality, that was, anyway. I loaded a suitcase full of junk jewelry, eye rings, puzzle rings, poison rings, love beads, racks of this and that. And it was like, it's like 65 pounds of dead weight in a suitcase. And I take off to the Greyhound station because I have no money. I didn't, Moises Morales, he's gone, we are, I was owed, probably, tens and tens of thousands in, our worth, but didn't give it a thought. just took off to the new and looked on a map, and I was looking with a booklet, and I was like, okay, as far as I can get on my $70 that's in my pocket is Syracuse, New York, and it's as far away from New York City as if distance is going to really make a difference. If they're going to, I mean, I was like, anyway, I got this bus to Syracuse, and I'm in my, summer clothes, sandals and skin tight lilac pants and a frilly nylon shirt, and I was like, and this big heavy suitcase with just junk jewelry in it, nothing else. And I take off. I'm in the Greyhound bus, and it's like I'm driving several hours all the way up to Syracuse. And by now it's like 4:45 in the evening, and I think, well, there's it's a university town. There's got to be a hip quarter there, and I get up there. I get off the bus. It's winter in Syracuse. It's winter. It's freezing. I'm freezing. And I'm like lugging this suitcase, and the bus driver said, yeah, about 2 miles that way, Marshall Street. That's probably the closest you're going to get to any kind of hip anything. And whatever that means. And so I'm lugging it, I get to Marshall Street, on the stroke of 5, and I'm dragging this suitcase down, and I'm freezing, even though I'm working hard to, lug this thing and get there as fast as I can before they all close. And I see this jewelry store, and in the jewelry store, right in the front window, is this chain link vest that I had created in my store in New York City, in the boutique. I had made it from different links of chains, all different kind of styles of metal, and just developed this, as a bodysuit. And it was a great creation, but it was just one of a kind. And I remember somebody buying it, taking it away, and I didn't, think anything more. There it is, sitting in the window of this jewelry store. I thought, oh, alrighty then. And I go in, and he said, oh, I'm sorry, we're closed. And I said, oh, I'm just in from New York City. Sorry, I'm a bit late, but maybe you'd like to see some of my, I've got some of the, hip junk jewelry, that moves, amongst young people, and, these poison rings, love rings, puzzle rings, and this. And he said, oh, I'll have a look. And he's like, well, I like these, I'll buy, he was going to buy like 6 or 8 racks of rings, which was, decent amount. Anyway, and he's like, okay, that's, $475. I'll, it's start to write me checkers. Can you, do you have any? No, I'm already cashed out. It's a check or nothing. And I was like, I have no wherewithal to cash a check, especially at that time of day. And right as I'm like, this beautiful young lady passes through the shop, by the shop window, and she looks in, she sees the chain link vest, and she's looking at it, and then she looks up and sees me looking out, and she goes, hi, and oh, there's my ticket. I was like, come on. She comes on in. And she said, yeah, I would like to try on the chain link vest in the window. He said, no, we're closed. I said, I'd like to interject for a moment. I said, in my store in Greenwich Village, I did all my own creations, and I actually created this chain link vest. And I don't know how it ended up here, but it's one of a kind, and I actually created it. And he's like, yeah, right. And I said, you give me 2 needle nose pliers, and I will redress it around this lovely lady's fabulous figure. And she was like, okay then. And so I did. She was trying to put it in on, inside out, back to front, and upside down. Right? It was like, honestly, it was hard to know how you would wear it. Anyway, I organized it, and it looked fabulous on her, but it was several $100s. And she said, well, that's great, and I think I've come for what I was looking for. And she's like, you're always me. And thank the man. She said, I'll cash your check for you. We'll go and have a coffee. So we go down to the end of the street, and the only hip place in the entire Syracuse, city of Syracuse, is this boutique at the end of that road on Marshall Street. And it's a coffee house boutique. And her friend Leah owns it. And we go in and we have a coffee, and she says, don't worry about, you're my guest tonight, at my house, and we'll deal with your check in the morning, and da-da-da. And she starts talking about, her friends, these guys that were like the furry freak brothers, and they were far out friends, Swami. And she's saying, yeah, these guys, these friends of mine, they heard that there was free pot growing alongside the freeways down in Kansas or somewhere, And they bought an old truck, and they went off to go and, harvest it and bring it back. And I was like, it's winter here. It's going to be just frozen in mulch, even if it's real pot, I said, it's probably just hemp. Anyway, she's telling me this story, and I'm like, yeah, right, this is hilarious. And they show up. Right then, they walk into the cafe and into the coffee house, and there they are. We're in the middle of this story, and they walk in. And I was like, far out Fred. His name's Far Out Fred. And Swami. Anyway, we all get along great. We all go back to Gale's house and smoke some pot. Not their pot, which was mulching in the back of the truck. It was just, it was like, I said, did you try it? No, we just got it and got the hell out of there. Drove as fast as we could back here. I said, well, it's probably not much more than mulch right now, but if it's not totally frozen, it might be, you might be able to trade it for something. Anyway, so we go back to Gale's house. And lovely house. She has a kid, and about the same age as Jason from Samantha. And, of course, another little boy, and he's like, it takes to me right away. And he rides around on my hip or on my shoulders, everywhere I went. Cute kid. And Jeremy. And so one day, this was about 5 days. I had gotten to her house, and I had phoned Backmeyer and Company on Chambers Street, the guy that had the dyes, and I had ordered the poundage of the primary colors, black and deep blue, and they were there in 2 days. And I had bought fabrics and T-shirts and different items, and started my experiments using my Ding method of symmetry and geometric folding and dipping to create my designs. Everything came out great. It was like better than I could have hoped for. And at the end of the week, we had a stack of shirts, a whole bunch of panels, big pieces, yardage, all kinds of stuff. I'd worked night and day because I was just loving this, and Gale had worked alongside me, and she was a big assist, and made great suggestions. And anyway, we go to her friend's store where we met, for the coffee, and Leah's boutique. And Leah looks at all this stuff, and she goes, I want it all. I'll buy it all right now. And she said, but I have a commission for you. I'm building a meditation room in the back of the boutique, and it's a room about this size. I want the end wall to be one big mandala, for meditation, and the walls and the floor all a similar design that all meld into one, like one big design, so that you're actually in a tie-dye box with the mandala at the end. I was like, sure, I can do that. I'll just measure it all up. And I got my tape measure, I measured it all up. And I get back to the house, and I go to the dictionary, and I look up what does mandala mean. It's like, okay, it's essentially it's like a graphic interpretation of the cosmos according to the philosophy of the artist. I said, oh, I have a philosophy, and I can weave my philosophy into this mandala. So a couple of days later, I got a big king size sheet, and I've prepared it. It's been laundered, and I've ironed it out. And now I'm ready to make my first mandala creation. And as I'm just starting my fold, I got the dyes already mixed and simmering on the stove, and just as I start my creation, the knock at the door, and there's the Furry Freak Brothers, Far Out Fred and Swami, and they come in, and Gale says, "Oh, just in time. Courtney's just about to create his first commission," and they brought these little envelopes that when you open them up, it's like a beautiful butterfly, and in the middle of, right in the center, is this orange tab, and it's Orange Sunshine LSD, and I'm like, oh, what is that? And what is LSD? Oh yes, that's what the Beatles took when they came back from India, when they were in India or something, when John kind of lost it and went, oh yeah, that stuff, right? I was like, well, okay. So we all took one, and there's Furry Freak Brothers, there's Gale, there's a few other friends that showed up, there's me, and as the day progressed, some of the babysitters showed up with their guitars, and now we got a house full of people, and people are just tweaking. I'm folding, and I've got all the sections. I'm folding this geometry into each section, and I've got this whole idea in mind, waiting for the dyes, and people are just like, they're up in the attic, and they're down in the basement, and they're out in the garden, and they're like tweaking all over the place. Like, what's going on with these people? They were like everywhere but here. And I was just so focused, and eventually I got it all tied up, and then I go ahead and do the dyeing, and now it's 7 or 8 or more hours have passed. I've got all the dyeing done. I got it all wrap it up in tin foil to maintain the moisture, and I put it in the oven. These are hot water dyes that have to be boiled, each color, for an hour to set them. So my idea was, I put all the colors in, bake them in the oven for an hour at boiling temperature, and hey presto, and it worked. So anyway, an hour later, I open the oven, I pull it out, and I've got the cold water going, and I've got this stage set up. I built a stage. I got lights. I've got this revolving Christmas tree lights that are flashing, white, and I've got a black light, and I've got a strobe light, and I, set this whole stage up, and I've, got this beam that I'm going to hang it from. By now we've got, a house full of people, and they're all coming down enough to be, attentive and sober. They're not tweaked out anymore. Anyway, and so I rinse this up from the center and starting to rinse this and opening, all these colors and these imagery, and it's like working through as ring by ring by ring and opening up. It's like, wow, and about the time it's just all rinsed, but I haven't really looked at it. I've only seen sections, and I go and I pin up one corner on this, above the stage, and then walk the other corner out, and I'm refusing to look, and I pin it up and pin up the middle, and once it dropped open, everybody's on the other side of the room, and it's like, this gasp, and I was like, ooh, sounds good, and I got the last pin in, and I walk across the room, and I turn around and look at what I got, and it's like, oh my God, the whole thing is like pulsing and moving, and it's like, it's alive. And I was like, oh my gosh, I said, is it really moving? They said, fuck yeah, man. excuse me. It's like, hell yeah, it's crawling all over the wall, right? Like, oh my gosh, well, you're kind of high on LSD. I was like, oh, right. Forgot about that. Then I was like, oh, wow, okay. Well, this is great. Got any more? Anyway, and so it begins.
That's excellent. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Courtney. And so as we start onto the tie-dyeing, I guess, cycle of your life.
Right.
This is the start.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing more about this.
Aha.
Have a great day, guys. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you, Heidi.
We'll see you next Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.